Politics are involved in almost every daily activity in life, whether you're aware of it or not. In essence, it's an approach to how you deal with things that need to get done. If you have kids, you find yourself negotiating their chores, bedtimes, and homework with them, offering them bribes or laying down the law. Politics affect your daily living, determining the wages you receive, the vacations you can take, the attire you can wear, and so forth. Politics are even in the very food you eat, whether it's deemed consumable by the standard of a board of health advisors, or whether you can even grow it on your own property. So many people are sadly ignorant of all the way that politics affect our lives, that they dismiss it all as red versus blue in most cases, without looking at the nuances behind every selected word of dialogue released to the public. Well, in these films, take much more in-depth approach, analyzing every moment of every character, diving into their motivations and agendas, dissecting each syllable of every uttered word to decipher its true intent. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 must-see political thrillers. Number 1, State of Play. Kevin McDonald directed this 2009 thriller, which will leave you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. The film starts off on a rainy night with the petty thief running through the dark streets of Washington, D.C. And then, finally he takes a moment where he's suddenly shot, killing him. And an innocent witness also ends up shot, but survives, only to slip into a coma. Cut to the next morning when a beautiful woman is walking out of her apartment to the metro. And while standing there, she realizes that something's amiss. The screen then just cuts to black. It seems that all of this is connected to Congressman Stephen Collins while he's investigating Point Court, a private defense contractor. Reporter Carl McCaffrey begins his investigation by trying to piece everything together, as well as trying to stay alive. There are connections to Point Court from every angle, and realizing that this conspiracy reaches much larger than he initially thought, his thirst for answers remains. And so he questions himself. Does he continue on with the story? Or does he let everything go? With a star-studded cast featuring Russell Crowe, Ben Affleck, Rachel McAdams, Harry Lennox, and Jeff Daniels, you won't want to miss this. The tension is so high and really brings to light a lot of things money can buy, especially in the hands of evil. Make sure to check it out on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 2, Syriana. This film has 4 different plot lines that all weave together to form this beautiful depiction of how much politics play a major role in every aspect of our daily lives. Shot in over 200 locations, including Washington, D.C., Texas, Switzerland, and Spain. I got a little lost at times on my first watch, but upon a rewatch, I noticed a lot of the details I had missed. To make it as uncomplex as I can, considering the narrative focuses on multiple characters, it's mainly about oil, and the country that controls the oil has the power. The US is concerned with the Middle East letting China do more business with them, while a Texas oil tycoon wants to set up an intricate and lucrative deal with many moving parts. In Washington, D.C., a law firm is hired and sent out to help with negotiations with the Middle East, and to ensure the U.S. doesn't get fucked over. They even construct a new deal. An absolutely stacked cast featuring George Clooney, Matt Damon, Jeffrey Wright, and William Hurt, all doing award-winning work. And with Clooney getting 4 awards and a nomination. Stephen Gahan also did a fantastic job of writing and directing this film, which is loosely based off of Robert Baer's memoir, See No Evil. A great piece of entertainment that will both make you think and bring up some important conversations. So head over to Google Play, Apple TV, Prime, or Fandango to give this one a watch. Number 3, Munich. 2005 brought us this historical drama about the assassinations that took place after the massacre in Munich during the 1972 Olympics. And Steven Spielberg did not disappoint. In 1972, during the Summer Olympics, 11 Israelites were killed due to a terrorist attack, which then results in retaliatory action from Israel. Avner is sent to assassinate the Palestinians, who were supposedly the ones who committed the murders. Along the way, Avner recruits some other members, former KGB and Israel intelligence officers. Many who end up disagreeing with each other over the morality of the situation and the inexperience they all have. However, one by one, they manage to take out 9 of the targets, with the last one not dying until 7 years after the original attack. Most of the crew dies during their mission, except for Avner, who ends up in Brooklyn and tries to live a normal life. There are some historical inaccuracies, but that's just Hollywood's way to over-dramatize for the sake of entertainment. However, it's still a brilliant film that needs to be watched. Plus, the score is phenomenal and really captivates the emotions and intensity of the plot. So make sure to head over to Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, or Prime to check this out. Number 4, In the Line of Fire. Imagine in 1963 that you could have saved JFK if only you had reacted a little bit faster before that first shot. When 30 years later, you have been given the chance to redeem yourself. That's the premise for Wolfgang Petersen's 1993 action thriller starring Clint Eastwood and John Malkovich. Frank Horrigan, played by Eastwood, is still an active duty Secret Service agent, and upon investigating a complaint from a landlord, learns of a plot to assassinate the president while he's campaigning. This invigorates Horrigan to step up and protect the president at any cost necessary. Booth, the potential assassin, begins to harass Horrigan with phone calls, which a Secret Service attempt to trace, only for them to lead to abandoned houses and false locations. Horrigan eventually makes a mistake during the pursuit, which ends up causing him to be let go of his current detail. But because of his connection with Booth and having seen this actual face, he's able to get back to protecting the president temporarily while in LA, which leads to an epic showdown on a skyscraper elevator you just shouldn't miss. With lots of action, great cinematography, and an amazing score, you make sure to check this out over on Zumo, Sling, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 5, The Hunt for Red October. We've talked about this film before. An in-depth political thriller that takes a steep look at alliances, conformity, asylum, and posturing. John McTiernan directed this spy thriller based off Tom Clancy's novel of the same name. And it follows a group of Soviet naval officers who are faced with some heavy challenges while on their current mission. Unbeknownst to the crew, the captain and several other officers wish to defect to the US with their submarine, carrying the newest ballistic missile. Some of the men learn about this treason and start a mutiny to try and overthrow the captain and take control of the vessel. This film is incredibly intense, leaving you on the edge of your seat throughout, and has garnered a lot of praise from both critics and audiences alike, as well as several nominations, and features a star-studded cast that includes Sean Connery, Tim Curry, Alec Baldwin, and the late, great James Earl Jones. So make sure you don't miss this thrilling ride over on Max, Hulu, Sling, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango.
Looking for some new duds to dazzle your friends and family with? Support Fat Ninja Studios by heading over to fatninja.shop and checking out our very own merch store. We've got everything from shirts, hoodies, hats, shoes, and more. Again, check out fatninja.shop. Every dollar spent goes to our big fund jar and helps us produce more quality content and short films. Thanks again.
Number 6, The Insider. In 1996, Vanity Fair published an article titled The Man Who Knew Too Much by Marie Brenner that became the premise for Michael Mann's 1999 biographical drama. Even though this film bombed at the box office, it ended up getting nominated for 7 awards. Following Jeffrey Wiggin, played by Russell Crowe, and Lowell Bergman, played by Al Pacino, a CBS producer who inquires about some information on the technical aspects of a few documents from Brown and Williamson, a large tobacco company. Wiggin agrees to some extent, but reveals he can't discuss things further due to a confidentiality agreement. However, Wiggin eventually realizes somebody's been sent to silence him, and when the FBI becomes hostile with him, he's forced to breach his contract and become a whistleblower. Based on a true story, it takes a pretty in-depth look at the inner workings of both large corporations and lobbyists, and how they misuse the system to get their own benefit. So make sure to check this out with a good friend for some great talking points over on Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, or Prime. Number 7, The Devil's Own. Sadly, in 2024, Irish independence is still something the world is contending with. In this film, we follow Frankie, played by Brad Pitt, a member of the IRA who's been sent on a mission to buy some missiles in the US. While he's in the States, he meets an Irish-American NYPD officer, Tom, played by Harrison Ford, who kindly takes him in by offering him room and board in exchange for some carpentry work. During his mission, Frankie begins to grow a conscience, which has a major emotional effect on whether he can even complete the job, realizing just how many innocent lives may fall victim if they are to succeed. There's a scene where Tom and his wife come home to find intruders in their house, ransacking the place to find the money that Frankie has hidden. But just then, Frankie returns and he and Tom team up to make sure to send a message that they are not to be trifled with. The ending is amazing, with a heavy emotional breakdown that fully displays the anger and frustration, as well as the sadness and the desperation of the situation that many Irish families have felt for decades in their struggle for independence from British tyranny. It's high-octane action with a gooey moral center, as well as a great cast. Make sure to check this out on Prime, Freevee, Netflix, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 8, Mississippi Burnin'. Gene Hackman and Willem Dafoe star in this 1988 Southern crime thriller directed by Alan Parker. Upon release, the film initially gained positive reviews by critics and audiences. However, racist activists and institutionalized families had their problems with the overdramatization of events, claiming it painted them in a negative light. This story follows 2 FBI agents as they investigate the disappearance of 3 civil rights workers at the height of the civil rights movement. And there's a huge obstacle when it comes to the sheriff and his deputies in control of the town, in that they have close ties to the KKK. The corruption runs deep, and so many witnesses are either afraid to come forward, or because they believe in what the KKK does, they make up false testimony. Other citizens who are brave enough to talk to the FBI are murdered or severely beaten. Even the 2 agents in charge begin to think this case is hopeless. With this film being loosely based off the murders of 3 civil rights activists in 1964, it's difficult to not get emotional during this film, especially since here we are in 2024, once again fighting for civil rights, the right to choose what you believe in, the right for women to have bodily autonomy, the right to change your gender, to choose who you love, the right to just simply exist if you're not straight white male. But let me know your thoughts after you check this out on Tubi, Pluto, MGM Plus, Sling, Prime, Philo, Fandango, Google Play, or Apple TV. Number 9. The Siege. Denzel Washington and Tony Shalhoub play FBI agents Hubbard and Haddad, longtime partners and friends, when they are tasked to rescue a bus full of passengers from a bomb. At first it seems like a hoax, one of those paint bombs. But then things take a turn for the worse when the bus explodes, and several people are killed or critically injured. Hubbard gets the gut feeling that this is only the beginning of a much larger plot. And not too much longer, he's proven correct when there's another attack. The pair end up meeting with a CIA operative who ultimately is sort of part of the cause of recent events, and she has a close relationship with one of the men behind the terrorist strikes. Now they have to find the final suspects and save as many as they can before it's too late. Then comes the twist. Turns out that the government has known about these attacks for quite a while, and ultra-white right-wing conservative members wish to have an excuse to go to war. So they let it happen in order for them to initiate martial law and reinstate the draft. With a lot of action, phenomenal cinematography, and quippy one-liners, you can't go wrong with this film, so check it out on Starz, Hulu, Sling, Prime, Philo, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 10. Patriot Games. Jack Ryan, a staple in Tom Clancy's library of works, takes the forefront in this adaptation of the 1987 novel. Philip Noyce, a noticeable director behind such films as The Saint, Clear and Present Danger, The Bone Collector, and The Quiet American, helms this 1992 action thriller, receiving multiple positive reviews from critics and spending 2 weeks at number 1 in the box office. With a cast including many stars, including Harrison Ford, Ann Archer, Thora Birch, Samuel L. Jackson, and James Earl Jones, it's not hard to see why this film is so great. The plot follows Jack, played by Ford, a professor and low-level analyst for the intelligence division, living with his wife and daughter in London. One day, Jack witnesses an attempted kidnapping and intervenes, saving Lord William Holmes, and getting shot in the process. Jack does end up killing a few of the men attempting the kidnapping, which causes one of them to have a personal vendetta, because it was his brother who was killed. And this results in a dangerous game of cat and mouse. It's such an amazing film that really needs to be watched. And if you can't get enough of the character, make sure to check out the other films in the series as well as the Prime series. But be sure to head over to Max, Hulu, Sling, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango for a night of espionage action adventure. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. See you in the next one.